Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold loses its shine. A for now analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID FCECD 6812-2029 47:25 am. The drop in the gold price over recent days has been dramatic. It is no coincidence that it has occurred at a time when the US dollar is consolidating and real yields have increased again. Gold buying had accelerated over recent weeks, resulting in a sharp and what has proven to be an unsustainable rally. The subsequent drop in gold prices around 9% from its peak around $2,075 may yet turn out to be a healthy correction from overbought levels amid heavy positioning. NBSP, however, in the near term it is not advisable to catch a falling knife, with some further weakness likely before any turnaround. Prospects for gold further out remain upbeat despite the current correction. Continued ultra-easy monetary policy from the Fed and other major central banks, likely persistent low real bond yields amid central bank bond buying, continuing virus threats and importantly ongoing pressure on the US dollar, all suggest that the correction in gold prices will be met by renewed buying for an eventual upward test of $2,000. NBSP, however, in the near term the pullback in gold likely has more room, with the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level around $1,835 and the 50-day moving average around $1,829 important support levels. As noted, it is no coincidence that the dollar has strengthened at the same as gold has collapsed. The dollar has looked increasingly oversold both from a positioning and technical perspective and was due for a correction. Whether the correction in the dollar can turn into a sustainable rally is debatable, however. Unless there is a sustainable turn in real yields higher or signs that the US economy will move back to outperforming other major economies, it seems likely that the dollar will struggle to recover, especially ahead of US elections and all the uncertainty that they will bring in the next few months, especially if the result of the elections is a contested one. Another trend that is taking shape in markets is the rotation between momentum and value stocks. Recent market action has shown a marked underperformance of tech stocks relative to value stocks. Stocks that benefit from reopening are increasingly in favor, though their performance is still far behind that of tech stocks over recent months. NBSP much still depends on how quickly the virus can be brought under control, which in turn will signify how well reopening stocks will do going forward. There are encouraging signs in the US that the pace of increase is slowing, but it is still early days and as seen globally the virus is hard to suppress. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. TTOO Stock Price. T2 Biosystems plummets following earnings report. ntvforex.com news ID 4177B5 1 minutes ago by stocks reporter. Nasdaq TTOO sinks 10.95% on Tuesday amidst quarterly earnings call. The diagnostics firm has been in the news lately for its COVID-19 panel for virus detection. NBSP Nasdaq TTOO dropped throughout the trading session on Tuesday, as nervous investors sold off before the earnings call after the closing bell. T2 shareholders have enjoyed a profitable run thus far as the stock has risen by over 125% during the last year. Shares have also increased by 35% over the past month, making this last-minute pullback in the stock's price a reversal of the otherwise bullish momentum the company has seen. NBSP T2 Biosystems has been a fixture on penny stock investors' radar after the diagnostics company announced that it had developed a molecular diagnostics test for detecting the coronavirus in patients via a nasopharyngeal swab. The sample swab is then analyzed with near 100% results available within 2 hours. As America continues to struggle with containing COVID-19, we should see companies like T2 Biosystems remain relevant for the rest of 2020 and well into 2021 if the virus lingers. T2 Biosystems stock. T2 Biosystems reported a 74.29% increase in earnings per share for this quarter as well as a 41.46% year-over-year increase in revenues. Still, it is difficult to gauge how well TTOO is currently being managed, as a quick glance at their financials should give investors pause. T2 Biosystems currently sports an EBITDA of $49.2 million, an operating margin of 572.40%, and a return on assets of 60.87%. These are several key indicators of poor management and a company that just isn't profitable. TTOO's board of directors recently vetoed a proposed reverse stock split that would have diluted the penny stock's price quite a bit, just another sign that the company is financially unhealthy. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. RKT Stock Price Rocket Companies Inc. has 3 reasons to attract buyers as it flies at low orbit. ntvforex.com News ID 11A7613 3 minutes ago by Yohai Elam Nisi. RKT is set to extend its falls toward the $20 mark, still above the IPO price. Rocket Companies Incorporated's relatively low debut price and sliding shares may attract buyers. The coronavirus crisis may increase demand for lending provided by Quicken Loans. A quick rise and a quick fall for the firm behind Quicken Loans, not so fast. While NYSE RKT shares have been on the back foot, Rocket Companies has a sound business model that may thrive in coronavirus times for 3 reasons. 1. No fiscal support. Lawmakers in Washington are dithering around the next fiscal relief package, allowing federal unemployment benefits to lapse. President Donald Trump's Executive Order A, which may be legally challenged, stipulated a top-up of $300 week for the unemployed, only half the previous payment. NBSP too low rates. While that poses a risk for debt payments, it also opens the door to further lending in the USA, including from Quicken Loans. Interest rates remain depressed thanks to the Federal Reserve's open-ended bond buying schemes and unequivocal support of the economy. NBSP 3 Suburban Buying. Rocket Companies Incorporated also owns Rocket Mortgages A, and the housing market remains firm. Those who continue working from home are now seeking larger dwellings and are getting used to staying indoors. Demand for houses outside the large urban areas is rising. The thriving housing market may increase the demand for mortgages. NBSP. All in all, the financial services company is well positioned to take advantage of the current COVID-19 crisis despite the dim recession prospects. NBSP RKT stock forecast. NYSE RKT is priced at $20.35 at the time of writing, another minor decline after Tuesday's fall of 5%. Shares are now well below the peak of $26.85 hit shortly after the IPO, but above the launch price of $18. NBSP support awaits at the psychologically significant $20 level, followed closely by $19.50, which held it down before the surge. Immediate resistance is at the stubborn cap of $21.15, followed by $23. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP JPY Price Analysis sits near the highest level since June 8, just below mid 139.00 http ntvforex.com News ID 696,806 5 minutes ago by Haresh Menghani. GBP JPY gained traction for the 3rd consecutive session on Wednesday. Bulls are likely to wait for a sustained move beyond the 139.50 region. The GBP JPY cross-edged higher for the 3rd consecutive session on Wednesday and was last seen trading just below mid 139.00 SA, the highest level since June 8. The mentioned region coincides with the top boundary of an ascending trend channel extending from late June and should act as a key pivotal point for short-term traders. Meanwhile, RSI 14 on the daily is flashing slightly overbought conditions and warrants some caution for bullish traders. This, in turn, makes it prudent to wait for some strong follow-through buying before positioning for any further near-term appreciating move. A convincing breakthrough will now set the stage for a move back towards June monthly swing highs, around the 139.75 region, before bulls eventually aim to lift the cross beyond the key 140.00 psychological mark. On the flip side, any meaningful pullback below the 139.00 mark might now be seen as a buying opportunity and remain limited near the 138.75 region. That said, some follow-through selling might accelerate the slide further towards the 138.10–138.00 intermediate support en route monthly lows, around the 137.75 region. GBP JPY daily chart technical levels to watch. GBP JPY overview today. Last price 139.42 today. Daily change 0.47 today. Daily change percent 0.34 today. Daily open 138.95 nbsp trends. Daily SMA 20 136.87 daily SMA 50 135.56 daily SMA 100 134.3 daily SMA 200 137.49 nbsp levels. Previous daily high 139.5 previous daily low 138.4 previous weekly high 139.24 previous weekly low 137.75 previous monthly high 139.21 previous monthly low 132.95 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 139.08 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 138.82 daily pivot point S1 138.4 daily pivot point S2 137.85 daily pivot point S3 137.29 daily pivot point R1 139.5 daily pivot point R2 140.06 daily pivot point R3 140.61 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. MCRB Stock Price. Sears Therapeutics Inc. tumbles after recent surge at ntvforex.com. News ID 54887A 6 minutes ago by stocks reporter. Nasdaq MCRB drops 11.72% the day after shares added over 500% to their value. The announcement of Ceres's successful Phase 3 trial for SER-109 pushes its market cap over $1 billion. NBSP Nasdaq MCRB has certainly provided its shareholders with reason to celebrate this week. NBSP, even with the stock price pulling back by 11.72% during Tuesday's trading session. Shares of the biotech firm rose by over 500% on Monday, inflating the market cap from $354 million to over $1.5 billion in a single trading day. It is never too surprising when a stock price falls after a rapid ascent, as investors who are not long on the company take their profits and run. NBSP Sears reported some very positive results from Phase 3 of their clinical trial for SER-109A, a drug that treats CDI or C. difficile infection. CDI is an infection of the colon which, if left untreated, can be life-threatening. The biotech firm was pleased to find a 30% decrease in the number of patients where a recurrence of CDI was found within 8 weeks of being treated with SER-109. The next step for Sears is to apply for FDA approval for oral therapy A, which will immediately help the estimated 170,000 Americans who suffer from CDI every year. NBSP Sears Therapeutics stock MCRB's trading average skyrocketed to over 7 million shares compared to its daily average of just under 900,000. The biotech firm still has some work to do to get FDA approval for their drug, but if the positive results are any indication, NBSP, they should have no issues with receiving that approval. FDA approval usually takes about 6 months to complete, so it could be a while before MCRB sees any real profits from SER-109. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. S&amp 500 futures battle lines well defined ahead of US data. A Confluence Detector ntvforex.com news IDE 4D2836 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta with the risk on sentiment back in vogue amid optimism over more stimulus and coronavirus cure. The S&amp 500 futures broke the Asian consolidation phase to the upside and rallied 0.80% to regain the 3,350 level. The bulls gear up for a test of the all-time highs reached in early February at 3,397.50. Although uncertainty over the U.S. fiscal stimulus and economic recovery could keep the further upside elusive. Let's take a look at how it's positioned technically. S&amp 500 futures key resistances and supports. The tool shows that the S&amp 500 futures floored nbsp with 3,363 levels, which is the convergence of the previous day low and previous high on 4-hour. The next relevant resistance is a line 3,372, the intersection of the pivot point 1-week R1, Bollinger Band 1-day upper and SMA 101 hour. Acceptance above the latter will call for a test of the Fibonacci 38.2% 1-day at 3,380 and root the previous day high near 3,387. The buyers will then aim for the record highs. Alternatively, 3,355 is the immediate cushion for the bulls, where the previous week high and pivot point 1-day S2 meet. Further south, powerful support at 3,348 will test the Bearsa commitment. The level is the confluence of the Fib 161.8% 1-day, SMA 5 1-day and Bollinger Band 4-hour middle. A sharp sell-off could be triggered below a break of the latter, which could put 3,327 support at risk, the pivot point 1-month R1. S&amp 500 futures chart. About the Confluence Detector. The TCI Technical Confluences Indicator is a tool to locate and point out those price levels where there is a nbsp congestion of indicators, moving averages, Fibonacci levels, pivot points, etc. Knowing where these congestion points are located is very useful for the trader, and can be used as a basis for different strategies. Learn more about Technical Confluence NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. UK Q2 GDP registers its worst contraction in its history. Analysis http://ntvforex.com news ID 5457B1812 2020 am Notes Observations. UK Q2 GDP registered its deepest recession on record, but monthly June reading paints a picture of optimism. Ending of furloughing subsidies in October remain a concern for employment. Talks between Democrats and Republicans over another round of pandemic-related fiscal stimulus said to have stalled. Trump's executive orders seem to have eased some concerns about the U.S. economy. Asia. New Zealand Central Bank left official cash rate OCR unchanged at 0.25% as expected, but increased the size and duration of its QE bond buying program. RBNZ Gov or stressed that the recent Auckland virus lockdown did not affect policy decision. New Zealand PM Ardern noted that the dissolution of parliament to be delayed, but no decision on delaying September 19 election. China Vice Foreign Min stated that the coming months are crucial in U.S.-China relations, needed to keep relations on the right track. China banking sector said to crack down on the use of personal credit cards for speculation related to the equity and real estate markets. Pro-democracy Hong Konger Jimmy Lai has been freed on bail as expected from Aug. 11th. Coronavirus total global cases 20,223,306 1.0%. DD total deaths 740.3k, 0.7%. DD Russia claimed to have developed a vaccine for COVID-19 amid concerns about whether trials were rushed. Europe. UK Chancellor of the Exchequer Sunak Finmin said top consider postponing the fall budget announcement if the UK is hit by a second wave of COVID. America's Democratic Party candidate Joe Biden announced Senator Kamala Harris as his running mate for the November 3 U.S. election. U.S. Senate Majority Leader McConnell. Democrats treating coronavirus pandemic as political game, with relief talks still stalled. While House COVID-19 relief bill negotiators did not speak to the top Democrats in Congress on Tuesday. Stalemate needed to end. Canada PM Trudeau continue to have full confidence in Finmin Morneau and any statement to the contrary is false. Energy Weekly. API crude oil inventories 4.4 MV 8.6 M prior. NBSP speakers. Fixed income FX commodities. Iratum equities indices. STOXX 6000 0.25% at 371.68. FTSE 0.76% at 6201.29. DAX 0.16% at 12,924.30, CAC 40 0.22% at 5,039.66, IBEX 35 0.20% at 7,278.00, FTSE MIB 0.44% at 20,298.50, SME 0.44% 10,197.50, S&amp 500 futures 0.91%. Market focal points. Key themes. European indices open modestly lower, the FTSE 100 being the exception, later moving to mixed as the session wore on increase in COVID cases in Europe blamed for loss of risk appetite. Better performing sectors lead by telecom and financials. Underperforming sectors include consumer discretionary and materials. Liberty Global launches takeover of Sunrise Communications. Acre Solution places spin-off shares. Earnings expected in the upcoming U.S. session include Brinker International, Arcos Dorados and Enersys. NBSP Equities. Consumer Discretionary ASOS ASC.UK 6% trading update, Just Eat Takeaway JET.UK 3.5% earnings. Utilities E.on EOA and .DE 1.5% earnings. Industrials Leone LEO.DE 7% earnings. Technology Avast AVSD.UK 4% earnings. Telecom Sunrise Communications SRCG.CH 26% to be acquired. Freenet FNTN.DE 17% sells stake. NBSP speakers. UK Chancellor of the Exchequer Sunak Finmin reiterated government stance that extending Brexit transition period beyond December 31 is not the right thing to do. Must prepare for all eventualities on Brexit. Domestic economy was in hard times. Difficult choices to be made, but would get through this. Noted that growth of 8.7% in GDP in June was encouraging. Poland's central bank's Kropnicki Hawk 2020 CPI could reach 4.05%. Area Russia Healthmin to begin producing the COVID-19 vaccine within 2 weeks. China Foreign Ministry spokesperson Zhao Jian. U.S. TikTok ban had nothing to do with national security. U.S. sanctions were irrational and groundless. China said to discuss agricultural goods and CNY currency yuan in upcoming U.S.-China discussions planned for August 15. China to bring up WeChat. TikTok issues. NBSP currencies. Fixed income USD saw some initial support as the session began as spot gold tested a 4-week low. Dealers cited rising real yields as the cause of the price action. The continued stalemate on U.S. stimulus talks cited as a headwind for the greenback. A slew of UK data released in the session showed the country was in its worst recession in history, but improvement in monthly data was taking the sting out of the GDP contraction. GBP USD little changed at 1.3050 area. Headwinds remain as markets watch effects of the ending of furloughing subsidies in October and a move towards Brexit by year-end. Hopes of a V-shape recovery look hard to swallow. Euro USD recovered from session lows of 1.1711 to probe back in the middle of the handle. nbsp Economic Data UK June Monthly GDP 8.7% v 8.0% UK Q2 Preliminary GDP QQ 20.4% v 20.7% EYY 21.7% v 22.3% UK Q2 Preliminary Private Consumption QQ 23.1% v 18.9% E-Government Spending QQ 14.0% v 0.7% E-Gross Fixed Capital Formation QQ 25.5% v 27.8% E-Exports QQ 11.3% v 21.5% E-Imports QQ 23.4% v 23.9% E-UK Q2 Preliminary Total Business Investment QQ 31.4% v 30.0% EYY 31.3% v 0.8% Prior UK June Industrial Production 9.3% v 9.0% EYY 12.5% v 13.1% EUK June Manufacturing Production 11.0% v 10.0% EYY 14.6% v 15.0% EA UK June Construction Output 23.5% v 15.0% EYY 24.8% v 29.5% EUK June Index of Services 7.7% v 8.0% E3M 19.9% v 20.7% EUK June Visible Trade Balance A 5.1 BVA 4.5 B Overall Trade Balance A 5.3 BVA 2.6 B Trade Balance Non-EU A 0.3 BVA 0.7 B No Norway Q2 Average Monthly Earnings YY 4.2% v 3.5% Prior RO Romania July CPI 0.0% v 0.0% EYY 2.8% v 2.8% EJP Japan July Preliminary Machine Tool Orders YY 31.1% v 32.1% Prior SE Sweden July CPI 0.2%. v 0.1% EYY 0.5% v 0.3% ECPI level 337.57 v 336.60 ESE Sweden July CPI FMM 0.2% v 0.1% EYY 0.5% v 0.2% ESE Sweden July CPI FX Energy 0.4% v 0.0% EYY 1.5% v 1.2% EIT Italy July Final CPI 0.2% v 0.1% Prelim YY 0.4% v 0.3% Prelim CPI Index X Tobacco 102.3 v 102.4 Prior IT Italy July Final CPI EU Harmonized 0.7% v 0.6% Prelim YY 0.8% v 0.9% Prelim EU Eurozone June Industrial Production 9.1% v 10.0% EYY 12.3% v 11.6% E Fixed Income Issuance in India Sold Total INR 350 BVS INR 350B indicated in 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month bills DK Denmark sold total DKK 4.4B in 3-month, 6-month and 9-month bills IT Italy Debt Agency Tesoro sold total A7.0B versus A7.0B indicated in 12-month bills average yield 0.192% v 0.124% prior bid to cover 1.74x v 1.48x prior SE Sweden sold total 5.0 billion Swedish kronor versus 5.0 billion Swedish kronor indicated in 2026 and 2031 bonds UK DMO sold a 2.75B in 0.125% January 2028 gilts average yield 0.151% v 0.045% prior bid to cover 2.88x v 2.15x prior tail 0.2 bps v 0.3 bps prior nbsp looking ahead 0530 ZA South Africa July Saxi Business Confidence 0530 to Germany to sell a 4.0B in 0% August 2030 Bunds 0530 ZA South Africa announces details of next bond auction held on Tuesdays 0600 IL Israel July Trade Balance No ESTV $1.5 billion prior 0600 PT Portugal July Final CPI No ESTV 1.3% Prelim YY No ESTV ESTV 0.2% prelim 0600 PT Portugal July final CPI EU harmonized no ESTV 2.0% prelim YY no ESTV 0.0% prelim 0600 RU Russia to sell OFZ bonds 0645 US daily LIBOR fixing 0700 US. MBA mortgage applications WE August 7 no ESTV 5.1% prior 0700 ZA South Africa June retail sales 10.0% EV 74.2% prior YY 5.0% EV 12.0% prior 0700 UK weekly PM question time in-house 0800 BR Brazil June retail sales 5.0% EV 13.9% prior YY 2.8% EV 7.2% prior 0800 BR Brazil June broad retail sales 6.7% EV 19.6% prior YY 4.0% EV 14.9% prior 0800 UK daily Baltic dry bulk index 0830 US July CPI 0.3% EV 0.6% prior YY 0.7% EV 0.6% prior 0830 US July CPI ex food energy 0.2% EV 0.2% prior YY 1.1% EV 1.2% prior 0830 US July CPI index NSA 258.540 EV 257.797 prior CPI core index SA 266.585 EV 266.065 prior 0830 US July real average hourly earning YY no ESTV 4.3% prior real average weekly earnings YY no ESTV 4.6% prior 0845 UK BO to buy a 1.473B in APF gilt purchase operation 720 years 10.00 US Fed S Rosengren discusses on economy 1030 US weekly dough oil inventories 11.00 US Fed S Kaplan speaks to Lubbock Chamber of Commerce 12.00 CA Canada to sell 2-year bonds 13.00 U.S. Treasury to sell 10-year notes 13.00 MX Mexico July total formal job creation no ESTV 83.3K prior 14.00 U.S. July monthly budget statement $137.5 BV $864.1 billion prior 15.00 AR Argentina June capacity utilization no ESTV 46.4% prior 15.00 U.S. Fed S daily speaks with the Economic Club of Las Vegas 1845 NZ New Zealand July food prices no ESTV 0.5% prior 19.01 UK July RICS house price balance no ESTV 15% prior 19.50 JP Japan July PPI 0.4% EV 0.6% prior YY 1.1% EV 1.6% prior 19.50 JP Japan Q2 housing loans YY no ESTV 2.6% prior 21.00 Australia OG consumer inflation expectation survey no ESTV 3.2% prior 21.10 JP BOJ outright bond purchase operation FOR 1 3 years 3 5 years and 5 10 years maturities 21.30 Australia July employment change 25.0 KV 2 10.8K prior unemployment rate 7.8% EV 7.4% prior full-time employment change no ESTV 38.1K prior part-time employment change no ESTV 249.0K prior participation rate 64.4% EV 64.0% prior 23.00 KR South Korea June M2 money supply M no ESTV 1.2% prior L money supply no ESTV 0.9% prior. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Patterns GBR.IDX GBP $.IDX USD analysis http ntvforex.com news ID A64A218122020 10:08:47 AM GBR.IDX GBP 4H chart breakout could occur. The UK 100 which measures the best 100 performing shares from the London Stock Exchange, has surged by 5.94% since the beginning of August. The stock tested the upper line of a descending channel pattern at 6,201.33 on August 11. nbsp. All things being equal, the UK 100 index will most likely continue to edge higher during the following trading sessions. The possible target for bullish traders will be at the 6,400.00 level. However, if the descending channel pattern holds, a decline towards a support cluster formed by the weekly and the monthly PPS at 6,026.18 could be expected in the shorter term. nbsp $.IDX USD 4H chart buying signals the dollar index, which measures the US dollar against a basket of major currencies, has surged by 1.50% since August 5. The DXY breached the 50-day period SMAs during yesterday's trading session. Technical indicators suggest buying signals on the 4-hour time frame chart. Most likely, the currency pair will continue to edge higher during the following trading sessions. However, the weekly resistance level at 94.06 could provide resistance for the currency exchange rate in the shorter term. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US CPI July preview: no upward pressure without tight job market and rising consumption. ntvforex.com news ID 9F6EC4 6 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. Consumer prices are forecast to stabilize in July following the pandemic collapse in March and April and the partial recovery in the 3 months since. Notwithstanding, CPI and PCE have not been a major policy or market concern since the financial crisis, as in the economic order jobs come first, then consumer demand and last, inflation, and Forex's analyst Joseph Trevisani briefs. Key quotes: A. The core CPI rate is forecast to dip to 1.1% in July, which would be the lowest for this price measure since February 2011. The monthly core rate is expected to be unchanged at 0.2% after 3 months of deflation at 0.1% in March, 0.4% in March and 0.1% in May. The headline inflation rate is projected to rise by 0.3% in July after June's 0.6% gain. The closure of most of the U.S. economy forced all CPI prices into deflation at 0.4% in March, 0.8% in April and 0.1% May. The yearly rate should rise to 0.8% from 0.6% in June. This measure of prices fell from 2.5% in January to 1.5% in March, 0.3% in April and 0.1% in May for the lowest reading since 0.1% in March 2015. Inflation will not return to its pre-pandemic range until consumer spending stabilizes. Crashing and rebounding sales cannot provide the security for business planning that is a necessary condition for hiring a nbsp. Inflation is a distant third in central bank proprieties. Flooding the economy with cash and credit will not raise prices unless people are working and spending. Markets know this and that no CPI or PCE result will change Fed policy. When that link is broken, inflation is no longer a relevant statistic for trading a nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. A riddle, wrapped in a mystery, inside an enigma analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID 8 ad 6 B18 12 2020 10 2030 4 am US overview. Winston Churchill's reply to questions about what Russia would do next are particularly relevant at this juncture of the recovery. Real GDP declined at its fastest pace on record during the second quarter, with output tumbling at a 32.9% annual rate. While a decline of that magnitude would normally stoke fear into the minds of forecasters, consumers, and business owners, the drop seems like old news today, as it was widely anticipated and overshadowed by more recent data that show the economy has been on the mend since mid to late April. Furthermore, deconstructing GDP and matching that with the latest economic data suggest real GDP will rocket back in the current quarter. The most stunning rebound has been consumer spending on goods, which has recovered its entire recession drop and is now about 5% ahead of its February pre-pandemic level. Goods purchases have been bolstered by the shift to working remotely, which has lifted demand for furniture, electronics, and home accessories. Motor vehicle sales have also risen. With many factories closed in April and May, inventories have plunged. The inventory swing is boosting factory orders and driving rebounds in manufacturing and logistics, now evident in the ISM surveys. This summer's resurgence in virus cases led to a lull in most measures of consumer activity during July. While this quarter should certainly be stronger than the last, the fourth quarter remains a bit of a mystery. Q4 GDP growth will be dependent on continued declines in new COVID-19 cases and a rebound in consumer engagement in August and September. nbsp International Overview Global Growth Outlook looking mildly more positive. The level of economic activity remains depressed in most major economies, but a gradual recovery continues to take hold. The rebound in the Eurozone has gathered momentum over the summer, and the Chinese economy looks increasingly likely to eke out modestly positive growth for 2020. In Canada, the story is similar, as data suggest the level of activity is depressed but the trend is headed in the right direction. Canada has recovered a bit more than half of the jobs it lost during March and April, compared to about 42% in the United States. Unfortunately, not all economies are on the upswing. Mexico's economy remains in a difficult place as the country grapples with its still robust spread of COVID-19. With few signs of a meaningful fiscal stimulus on the way, the country may not see as much of a rebound in economic growth in H2 2020. At a more macro level, our thematic expectations for the global economy over the next 12 months largely remain intact. The negative output gaps in most economies are large, and it will be a long slog before they are fully closed. But, some of the worst-case economic scenarios envisioned back in March and April have been avoided thus far, fought off by historic monetary and fiscal policy responses. If the economic recovery can continue over the next couple of quarters, we believe steady progress on the public health front can help keep the economic momentum going into 2021. But, the unpredictability and potential severity of COVID-19 outbreaks around the world still remain a risk to our forecast. nbsp download the full monthly economic outlook. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Developments since our July monthly economic outlook analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 9F19C18122020101743 AM Key takeaways. Developments since our July monthly economic outlook. Our forecast for the level of real GDP over 2020 and 2021 has ticked modestly higher, as Q2 2020 was not quite as bad as we feared. Some recent signs of stalling in the U.S. recovery could end up pushing some of the third quarter bounce back into the fourth quarter. Our forecasts for non-farm payrolls and unemployment are largely unchanged. We continue to expect the unemployment rate to finish 2020 a bit above 8% and 2021 a bit above 6%. Our baseline U.S. forecast continues to assume no additional fiscal stimulus beyond what has already passed. Thus, should another large package become law, there would be upside risk to our forecasts for the U.S. economy, with the actual magnitude dependent on the ultimate size and design of the package. We have downwardly revised our year-end forecast for the 10-year Treasury yield to 0.90%, from 1.15%. We have upwardly revised our global growth forecast 0.1 of a percentage point for 2020 and 0.3 for 2021. Most developed market economies saw upgrades, while China and India were left unchanged and the Mexican economy saw a notable downgrade. Download the full monthly macro manual. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Your JPY Price Analysis further gains now look to 127.50 http ntvforex.com. News idea 75b7 6 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano. Your JPY surpasses the previous YTD highs and tests 125.80. Further up now aligns the March 2019 high in the mid 127.00s. Your JPY extends the recovery on the back of the generalized better note in the risk complex on Wednesday. Further gains are thus expected amidst the current positive environment, and there are no relevant hurdles until the March 2019 high in the 127.50 region. The constructive view around your JPY is predicted to remain unchanged while above the 200-day SMA at 120.15. Your JPY weekly chart. Your JPY overview today. Last price 125.79 today. Daily change 85 today. Daily change percent 0.62 today. Daily open 125.02 nbsp trends. Daily SMA 20 123.89 daily SMA 50 122.29 daily SMA 100 119.9 daily SMA 200 120.17 nbsp levels. Previous daily high 125.5 previous daily low 124.35 previous weekly high 125.59 previous weekly low 123.99 previous monthly high 125.21 previous monthly low 120.26 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 125.06 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 124.79 daily pivot point S1 124.41 daily pivot point S2 123.8 daily pivot point S3 123.26 daily pivot point R1 125.57 daily pivot point R2 126.11 daily pivot point R3 126.72 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD. The deck is stacked against K-Blate. ntvforex.com. News idea 2E3 5 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. UK past could have been worse, but the bleak labour market prospects and $S haven flows point to falls, according to End Forex AS analyst Yohai Elam. GBP USD is flat, trading just below the 1.3050 level. Key quotes: A. The UK economy shrank by 20.4% in the second quarter of 2020, better than 20.5% projected. YoY, output fell by 21.7%, also above estimates. Perhaps the truly encouraging figure is June's monthly rebound of 8.7%, not only topping forecasts but showing that Britain's gradual reopening also bears economic fruits. That recovery, accompanied by hopes that the uptrend continues in July and beyond, pushed the pound higher. Chancellor Rishi Sunak is sending sterling lower once again. Apart from reiterating that the furlough scheme is unsustainable, he added that many will lose their jobs. The greenback is benefiting from higher bond yields as the US issues a record amount of debt that investors are unable to absorb at low returns. The world's reserve currency is also benefiting from safe haven flows originating from the impasse on U.S. fiscal stimulus and Sino-American tensions ahead of trade talks. Investors are skeptical about Russia's announcement that it developed a COVID-19 vaccine and more worried that Texas will be keeping restrictions in place despite some improvement in battling the disease. nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. UK set for slow recovery after record second quarter economic decline analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 3EAAB3812 2020 am. The UK economy is likely to experience a decent rate of growth during the third quarter, but importantly it will be at least a couple of years before all of the lost ground is recovered. Consumer caution, the unwinding of the job retention scheme and the end of the post-Brexit transition period pose risks to the recovery. The 20.4% fall in UK second quarter GDP will catch most of the headlines today. Britain's lockdown was more protracted than most others, and that unsurprisingly means that the overall slowdown in activity through the first half of the year 22% was more pronounced than that in the Eurozone as a whole, albeit this masks big variations in the US. nbsp. More importantly though, the latest monthly GDP figures indicate that activity saw a much more solid rebound in June than the disappointing outcome for May. Activity was up 8.7%, and unsurprisingly the industry breakdown shows that a fair chunk of the rebound came from wholesale retail trade as shops began to reopen. Retail sales, don't forget, are now essentially back to where they were before lockdown, although this partly reflects a big shift to online shopping. We expect to see another decent bounce in GDP during July when a wider range of service sector businesses were allowed to open. And arithmetically, the timing of all of these changes towards the end of the second quarter, or early into the third, probably means that the UK's third quarter rebound is likely to appear larger than in many other economies. While we suspect the rebound may not be quite as large as the Bank of England's 18% third quarter growth forecast, it might not be far off. NBSP change in UK monthly GDP by industry source Macrobond. In calculations, of course, percentages can be misleading, and the reality is that the overall size of the UK economy is still likely to be almost 10% smaller at the end of the third quarter than when compared to pre-virus levels. We also suspect it will take at least another 2 to 3 years for the economy to regain all the lost ground, quite a bit longer than is being forecasted by the Bank of England, who assume a full recovery by the end of 2021. Rising unemployment is probably the biggest threat to the recovery at the moment, and this is being linked to the gradual unwinding of the government's furlough scheme over the next few months. Many firms, particularly in the hardest-hit hospitality recreation sectors, are still struggling as a result of ongoing consumer caution and social distancing constraints. Investment is also likely to remain a major drag, particularly in light of the forthcoming changes at the end of the post-Brexit transition period. Even if there is a trade deal agreed this year, businesses will encounter a wave of new costs across a range of sectors. We note that the sectors likely to be most heavily affected, e.g. manufacturing, by these changes are not necessarily going to be the same as those hardest hit so far by the COVID-19 crisis, which has most severely hit consumer services. For 2020 as a whole, we expect the UK economy to have shrunk by 9.7%. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. U.S. labor market outlook remains cautious. AUOB http ntvforex.com News ID A324045 5 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano Alvin Liu, economist at UOB Group's Global Economics AMP Markets Research, reviewed the latest non-farm payrolls for the month of July. Key quotes: following the record 4.791 million new jobs in June, the U.S. non-farm payrolls NFP increased by 1.763 in July. The NFP again outshined the recent ADP report, which saw job gains of just 167,000. U.S. unemployment rate eased further to 10.2% in July as the labor participation rate inched lower to 61.4% from 61.5% in June. The other recurring issue was that the Bureau of Labor Statistics (BLS) again highlighted a persistent misclassification of a number of workers as absenta from Work instead of a unemployed on temporary layoff in July. This has been an issue for the BLS since March, although the severity of the problem has eased especially in June and July. The U.S. employment situation has improved post-April, accumulating 9.28 million payrolls increases in the months between May-July, making up for a sizable portion of the 22.16 million job losses recorded in March and April combined. That said, the longer the wait, the more likely temporary job losses will turn permanent. And the jobs recovery momentum is clearly derailed in face of the COVID-19 resurgence, which means potentially a repeat of some of the restriction measures to contain it, and thus, re-inflicting the damage to the labor market. We continue to expect U.S. unemployment rate to end the year at 9.5%, implying some improvement still in the employment front in 2H, but the pace of improvement is unlikely to match what was experienced in May-July period. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD rebounds modestly, trades below 0.7150 ahead of US inflation data. ntvforex.com news IDBC 0E7F 4 minutes ago by Aaron Sengezer. AUD/USD recovers modestly after sliding to fresh weekly lows. Disappointing data from Australia weighs on AUD on Wednesday. US dollar index stays quiet around 93.50 ahead of CPI data. The AUD/USD pair closed the second straight day virtually unchanged on Tuesday and came under bearish pressure during the Asian session. After dropping to a fresh weekly low of 0.7110, however, the pair staged a rebound and was last seen posting small daily losses at 0.7137. Eyes on Wall Street earlier in the day. The data from Australia showed that Westpac consumer confidence in August worsened from 6.1% to 9.5%. Additionally, the wage price index edged lower to 0.2% on a quarterly basis in the second quarter and fell short of the market expectation of 0.3%. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 futures are up 0.88% on a daily basis, hinting that Wall Street's main indexes could start the day sharply higher. Fresh record highs for the S&P 500 remains within a touching distance, and a risk rally in the second half of the day could weigh on the safe haven USD and help the pair push higher. In the early American session, the Consumer Price Index CPI data will be featured in the U.S. economic docket. Markets expect the annual CPI to rise to 0.8% in July. Nevertheless, the fact that the U.S. Federal Reserve uses the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index as its preferred gauge of inflation suggests that the market reaction to this data is likely to be muted. At the moment, the U.S. dollar index is down 0.11% on the day at 93.55. Technical levels to watch for AUD/USD overview today. Last price 0.7138 today, daily change 0.0005 today, daily change percent 0.07 today, daily open 0.7143 nbsp trends daily SMA 20 0.7123 daily SMA 50 0.7002 daily SMA 100 0.67 daily SMA 200 0.6708 nbsp levels. Previous daily high 0.719, previous daily low 0.7134, previous weekly high 0.7244, previous weekly low 0.7076, previous monthly high 0.7228, previous monthly low 0.6876, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 0.7155, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 0.7169, daily pivot point S1 0.7121. Daily pivot point S2 0.71, daily pivot point S3 0.7065, daily pivot point R1 0.7177, daily pivot point R2 0.7212, daily pivot point R3 0.7233 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD to confirm a double top and a more concerted setback below 1.1697. A credit suisse at ntvforex.com. News ID B9C1603. 3 minutes ago by NTV Forex team, EUR/USD would establish a double top below 1.1697 with support then at 1.163027. Resistance is seen at 1.1808, as economists at Credit Suisse note. The pair is trading around 1.1770, up 0.25% on the day, after briefly testing the vicinity of the key support in the 1.17 neighborhood. Key quotes: A EUR/USD has completed a bearish A outside dia and with daily MACD crossing lower and with support from the 13-day average removed, the threat of a double top has grown sharply. A key support remains seen at the 1.169997 recent lows, below which would see a double top confirmed to warn of a more concerted setback with support then seen next and initially at 1.163022. A the 38.2% retracement of the rally from late June. Whilst this should be allowed to hold at first, below in due course can see support next at 1.1541 and then the March high at 1.1495, with the A measured top objective is seen just below here at 1.1478. A nbsp a break above 1.1801 is needed to ease the pressure off 1.1697 to clear the way for strength back to 1.1851, then a retest of January 19, 1626. A nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Europe nearing normality analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID B7BCBA 8/12/2020 10:39:25 am. Despite the increasing number of reported COVID-19 cases in EUR/USD, the past week's activity indicators have improved and now lie around normal levels. For the first time since March, the Bundesbank weekly activity index was positive, indicating economic improvement in Germany. Furthermore, German retail trade largely recovered from the drop reported last week. Google mobility numbers have also improved and are back to near normal levels in large parts of Europe. Spain and the UK lag behind in this regard, largely because of the stringency of their efforts to control the virus. The infection rate in the US seems to have peaked, but economic activity is still at very low levels. The past week gave us a further 0.77 pp drop in the Fed's weekly economic index, while restaurant bookings are still 55.7% below 2019 levels. NBSP explanation: in this document, we present a range of high-frequency data points in order to assess the current state of key economies. High-frequency data is of particular interest in the COVID-19 crisis, as conventional data points come with a significant lag and do not necessarily show the true picture in extraordinary times. NBSP data series: Google Mobility tracks the physical movement trends of people over time and across different categories among the public, such as retail and recreation, groceries and pharmacies, parks, transit stations, workplaces and residential. We focus on the retail and recreation category and use this as a measure of a social life. NBSP download the full The Big Picture. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY next upside target at 107.70. Short-term bias bullish video analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID 91AF77 8/12/2020 10:42:12 am. USD JPY gains stronger positive traction this week, gearing above the 20-day simple moving average SMA on Tuesday to close successfully above the 106.00 level, which was a struggle last week. The price is currently facing the 50% Fibonacci of the 112.21-101.17 downleg at 106.70 and the 50-day SMA, a break of which is required to boost momentum towards the 107.5-108.00 resistance zone. The positive slope in the RSI, which has crossed above its 50 neutral mark, and the rebound in the stochastics are backing this scenario, though the price needs to clear its nearby obstacles to extend higher. Should the pair run above the 108.00, claiming the 61.8% Fibonacci and the 200-day SMA at the same time, the door would open for the 109.55-110.20 restrictive region. In the event of a downside reversal, the 20-day SMA at 106.00 could block the way towards the 38.2% Fibonacci of 105.40. Beneath the latter, the spotlight will shift to the 104.18 bottom, and if this fails to hold too, the bears could head for the 103.00 mark, adding a new lower low in the 2-month time frame. Meanwhile, in the bigger picture, the pair maintains a neutral profile within the 112.21 and 101.17 borders. Summarizing, JPY is holding a bullish short-term bias, but it has to remove the 107.70 barrier first to confirm additional upside corrections. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US dollar index price analysis tough barrier emerges around 94.00 http ntvforex.com news idea A7B9 2 minutes ago by Pablo Piavanoticia S recovery faltered just ahead of the key 94.00 barrier. The reversion of the bullish attempt should target the 92.50 area. DXY keeps struggling to advance further north of the monthly tops in the 94.00 neighborhood so far this week. The inability of the index to surpass this area of resistance in the very short term could motivate sellers to return to the markets. In that scenario, the focus of attention is expected to reshift to the YTD lows in the mid-92.00s. The bearish view on the dollar is expected to remain unchanged while below the 200-day SMA, today at 97.85. DXY daily chart dollar index spot overview today last price 93.54 today daily change 42 today daily change percent 0.13 today daily open 93.66 nbsp trends daily SMA 2094.18 daily SMA 5095.84 daily SMA 10097.73 daily SMA 20097.89 nbsp levels previous daily high 93.74 previous daily low 93.16 previous weekly high 94 previous weekly low 92.5 previous monthly high 97.64 previous monthly low 92.55 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 93.52 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 93.39 daily pivot point S1 93.3 daily pivot point S2 92.94 daily pivot point S3 92.72 daily pivot point R1 93.88 daily pivot point R2 94.1 daily pivot point R3 94.46 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Murray Math Lines USD JPY, USD CAD Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID 9F85B2812 2020 10:47:34 AM USD JPY, a US dollar versus Japanese yen in the H4 chart, JPY is consolidating above 48. In this case, the price is expected to continue growing to break 5.8 and then reach the resistance at 6.8. However, this scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks 4.8 to the downside. After that, the instrument may continue falling to reach the closest support at 3.8. As we can see in the M15 chart, the pair has broken the upside line of the Voltaire channel indicator and, as a result, may continue moving upwards. NBSP USD CAD, a US dollar vs Canadian dollar. As we can see in the H4 chart, USD CAD is moving below 3.8. In this case, the pair is expected to test this level, rebound from it, and then resume falling towards the support at 1.8. However, this scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks 3.8 to the upside. After that, the instrument may continue moving upwards to reach the resistance at 4.8. In the M15 chart, the pair may break the downside line of the Voltaire channel indicator and, as a result, continue trading downwards. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. NZD/USD struggles to recover from multi-week lows, trades around 0.6550 http ntvforex.com. News ID 0E9A42 3 minutes ago by Aaron Sengezer. NZD/USD fell sharply during Asian session on Wednesday. RBNZ left the policy rate unchanged, expanded its QE. US dollar index turns south after climbing higher toward 94.00. The NZD/USD pair came under strong bearish pressure during the Asian trading hours and slumped to its lowest level in more than 3 weeks at 0.6528. Although the pair recovered modestly with the USD struggling to preserve its strength, the pair is still down 0.33% on the day at 0.6555. Kiwi weakens as RBNZ turns dovish. Earlier in the day, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand RBNZ, as expected, left its policy rate unchanged at 0.25%. However, in a surprising move, the RBNZ announced that it has increased the size of its quantitative easing QE program to 100 billion NZD. In its policy statement, the RBNZ noted nbsp that the package of additional monetary instruments will remain in active preparation. Commenting on the RBNZ's policy announcements, nbsp AEDA's difficult to imagine a more dovish outcome than what we have seen, said ANZ analysts. Given how dovish the tone was, we see a real risk that the NZD weakens further in coming weeks as the gravity of today sinks in. On the other hand, the US dollar index DXY lost its strength after advancing to a 9-day high of 93.90 during the early European session. At the moment, the DXY is registering small daily losses at 93.55, allowing the pair to limit its losses for the time being. Later in the day, the Consumer Price Index CPI data from the US will be looked upon for fresh impetus. NBSP technical levels to watch for NZD/USD overview. Today last price 0.6556, today daily change 0.0022, today daily change percent 0.33, today daily open 0.6578. NBSP trends daily SMA 20 0.6625, daily SMA 50 0.6542, daily SMA 100 0.6297, daily SMA 200 0.6365. NBSP levels previous daily high 0.6628, previous daily low 0.6571, previous weekly high 0.6691, previous weekly low 0.6575, previous monthly high 0.6716, previous monthly low 0.644, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 0.6593, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 0.6606, daily pivot point S1. 0.6557, daily pivot point S2, 0.6535, daily pivot point S3, 0.65, daily pivot point R1, 0.6614, daily pivot point R2, 0.6649, daily pivot point R3, 0.6671. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Will US CPI signal start of inflation analysis? http ntvforex.com news ID 8661E4812 10:52:51 am Equities March higher, EU inflation below forecast, Nikkei 0.41%, DAX 0.11%, UST 10Y 0.66, oil $42, gold $1,932 ounce, TGUSD $11,447, NBSP Asia and the EU Euro CPI 0.8% versus 0.9%, USD CPI 830. It's been another night of risk on trades, with equities firmly up by more than 50 basis points while high beta currencies rose as well. The news flow was very quiet, with no progress in Washington on stimulus talks and little economic releases elsewhere, but markets remained in a positive mood, betting on the fact that the worst of COVID-induced slowdown was behind us and that the economy was going to rebound strongly into the end of the year. On the echo front, FX traders saw the RBNZ statement in early Asia dealing, which suggested that the central bank may be comfortable with the notion of negative interest rates. The bank noted, reflecting a possible need for further monetary stimulus, the committee also agreed that a package of additional monetary instruments must remain in active preparation. The deployment of such tools will depend on the outlook for inflation and employment. The package of further instruments includes a negative OCR supported by funding retail banks directly at near OCR of funding for lending program. Purchases of foreign assets also remain an option. The news instantly sent Kiwi plunging about 50 pips, but the news reaction set the lows for the session and the single currency ground its way higher the rest of the night. Part of the reason for the rebound was simply supportive equity flows, but the market also remains skeptical that any such radical policy move by the RBNZ is imminent. Rather, it appears that New Zealand's monetary authorities are simply testing the water to prepare the market for such possible action should conditions deteriorate markedly. For now, the country remains one of the better performing advanced economies in the post-COVID world. In North America today, the market will get a look at US CPI data, which is expected to print at 0.2% versus 0.2% prior, but there is a chance that it may print hotter given the upside reading in yesterday's PPI data. Whether inflation is picking up due to COVID supply constraints or due to fiscal and monetary expansion remains to be seen, but bonds have certainly started to respond to the higher price level pressures, with yields up 7 basis points in the past few days. For now, the rise in yields has not impacted stocks, but if bonds begin to sell off further, the pressure on stocks will begin to mount from every angle as cost of capital will rise. Bond losses could cause margin liquidations and asset rebalancing across the board, and PE multiples could compress in a higher rate environment. It may take a while to take notice of these new dynamics, but if inflation becomes the new economic reality, the upside for stocks will become progressively more difficult. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Indonesia GDP expected to rebound in H2 2020. AUOB http ntvforex.com news ID 3P4B 6 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano. Economist Enrico Tanuwijaya and Harris Handy at UOB Group assessed the GDP figures in Indonesia during the second quarter. Key quotes: A Indonesian economy contracted in 2Q20, for the first time since the aftermath of the Asian financial crisis, by 5.32% on a year-on-year YY basis, as the large-scale social restriction PSBB pembatasan sosial berskala besar significantly reduced and hindered the economic activities compared to 1Q20. PSBB was deemed necessary to contain the massive spread of COVID-19 infections. In general, all GDP components by expenditure experienced contraction. The top two contributors of the economy, Private consumption 57.9% of GDP and investment expenditure 30.6% of GDP contracted by 5.51% YY and 8.61% YY, respectively. The extent of 2Q20's negative YY growth is likely the trough in the contraction in output. Early indicators suggest 3Q20 GDP is going to be better amidst some reopening of the economic activities shunned in 2Q20, while the government has set aside a stimulus package coupled with several rate cuts by the central bank. Nevertheless, the economy is not out of the woods yet, as the increasing number of COVID-19 cases forces cities across regions to maintain some degree of social restrictions and hence reducing economic activities to some extent. We now expect the economy to grow in the range of 0.3% to 2.5% depending on the effectiveness of implementation in abiding the health protocol, the development in the fatalities rate, the degree of PSBB containment measure, and the speed of disbursement from government stimulus to the real economy. nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Forex technical analysis and forecast majors, equities and commodities analysis. http ntvforex.com. News ID ECB 86D812-2020 11:012 AM. EUR USD. A euro vs US dollar. After finishing the correction at 1.1807 and then rebounding from this level to the downside, EURUSD is still moving downwards, and this decline may be considered as the fifth wave with the target at 1.1698. After that, the instrument may form one more ascending structure to reach 1.1800. nbsp GBP USD. A Great Britain pound vs US dollar. After finishing the ascending wave at 1.3113 and then rebounding to the downside, BUSD is still moving downwards. This decline may be considered as the fifth wave with the target at 1.2993. Later, the market may resume trading upwards to reach 1.3110. nbsp USD RUB. A US dollar vs Russian ruble USD RUB is falling to reach 72.30. Later, the market may correct towards 73.00 and then start another decline to break 71.30 and then continue trading downwards with the short-term target at 70.80. nbsp USD JPY. A US dollar vs Japanese yen. After rebounding from 105.95, USD JP is growing to reach 106.79. After that, the instrument may form a new descending structure to break 106.40 and then continue trading downwards with the target at 105.95. nbsp USD CHF. A US dollar vs Swiss franc. After rebounding from 0.9106, USD JPY is growing towards 0.9222. Later, the market may form a new descending structure to test 0.9164 from above. nbsp AUD USD. A Australian dollar vs US dollar. After completing the descending wave at 0.7133 and then breaking this level to the downside, AUD USD is still falling to reach 0.7070. After that, the instrument may resume trading upwards with the target at 0.7133. nbsp Brent. After reaching 45.98 and then completing the correction at 44.67, Brent is expected to move upwards and break 45.45. Later, the market may continue growing with the target at 46.90. nbsp XAU USD. A gold vs US dollar. After completing the descending wave at 1995.30 and then forming a new consolidation range around this level, gold has broken 1980.00 downwards to form a downside continuation pattern and reach the target at 1915.00. Right now, it is consolidating below the latter level. Possibly, the pair may start another growth to break 1928.50 and then continue trading upwards as a correction with the target at 1960.60. nbsp BTC USD. A Bitcoin vs US dollar. After finishing the descending wave at 11,400.00, TTOO is trading to break this level downwards. Possibly, the asset may reach 10,900.00 and then return to test 11,400.00 from below. After that, the instrument may start a new decline towards 10,760.00 and then form one more ascending structure to return to 11,400.00 once again. nbsp S&amp 500 after breaking 3,354.8 to the downside, the S&amp index is expected to reach 3,324.0 and then return to 3,354.8 to test it from below. However, if the price falls and breaks 3,323.3 to the downside, the market may continue trading downwards with the first target at 3237.6. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Red flags appearing on Wall Street Analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID 86F8B1812 2020 10:58:53 AM. Wall Street achieved new record highs on Tuesday, but it wasn't plain sailing, with sentiment shifting shortly after as stock markets ended the day in negative territory. The result is an interesting technical setup in US indices, with the outside day on the S&amp 500 widely viewed as a bearish signal. This comes as the Dow falters just above 28,000 and leaves a bearish-looking setup, and the Nasdaq ended lower for a third consecutive session. Red flags everywhere, which makes today's session all the more intriguing. US futures are back in positive territory, up almost 1%, which could be an encouraging sign, but it may not be that simple. We need to see a fresh high in the S&amp and Dow today and, ideally, an end to the Nasdaq losing streak, to shore up confidence. That may seem a little dramatic, but with US yields spiking the last couple of days and delivering a sledgehammer blow to precious metals in the process, reassurance is what investors now need. nbsp UK in worst recession on record, but it's not all bad. The UK is officially in its worst recession on record, as the economy shrunk by 20.4% in the second quarter, broadly in line with expectations. While there is some cause for optimism, being the 8.7% monthly rebound in June as shops reopened, the economy remains a sixth smaller than in February, highlighting the scale of the job ahead. The market reaction was predictably muted, with the horrific GDP figure widely expected and, in many ways, outdated. It's one for the history books and today's headlines, but as far as markets are concerned, a lot has happened since then in this ever-evolving crisis. The number was in line with expectations, so there's not much to respond to. nbsp rising yields pull the rug from underneath precious metals. The rise in US yields delivered a sledgehammer blow to precious metal markets on Tuesday, with gold falling 5% and silver taking a massive 15% hit. The rally over the summer has come as US real yields have gone negative and continued to decline, so the sudden spike over the last couple of days triggered a rush for the exits in what has become an incredibly overcrowded trade. The smashing of major psychological support along the way likely did little to soften the blow. The rise in yields has been attributed to a slew of upcoming auctions and higher PPI numbers, so beware the CPI data today. Support in gold can now be seen at yesterday's low around $1,860 and then $1,800, $1,820. Silver could see an interesting test around the $22.23 region. nbsp crude at risk of being dragged lower again. Crude continues to trade around the upper end of its range, with Tuesday's inventory draw from API giving prices another lift. The 4.4 million drop exceeds expectations for EIA today, with a more modest 3.2 million barrel draw forecast. Ultimately, it may be overall market sentiment that dictates today's moves, as it did for much of yesterday. The red flags are appearing in equity markets. Another wobble today could drag oil prices down with them. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold rebounds from an upside support line analysis. http ntvforex.com news ID BAAB8B812-2020 10:55:46 AM XAU USD tumbled yesterday, falling back below 1900. However, the fall was stopped by the short-term upside support line drawn from the low of June 15, and subsequently, the metal rebounded. The fact that the rebound came from that upside line keeps the door open for further advances. However, in order to get confident on that front, we would like to see a decisive break above the 1960 area, which is slightly above the 100 EMA on the 4-hour chart, and is marked by the inside swing low of August 3. If we indeed see a strong break above 1960, the bulls may initially aim for the high of August 3, at around 1985, the break of which may extend the recovery towards the inside swing low of last Friday, at around 2015. Another break, above 2015, may pave the way towards Monday's peak, at around 2050. Shifting attention to our short-term oscillators, we see that the RSI rebounded and exited its below 30 zone, and points to the upside, while the MACD, even though below both its zero and trigger lines, shows signs that it could bottom as well. Both indicators suggest that the downside momentum is dissipating, thereby supporting the notion for some more recovery in the near term. On the downside, we would like to see a strong dip below 1863 before we start examining the case for more and deeper declines. The metal will already be below the aforementioned upside line and may encourage the bears to shoot for the 1815 zone, which provided strong resistance between July 8 and 16. A move below that hurdle could extend the slide towards the 1791 barrier, which provided decent support during the same period. That said, if that area is also broken this time around, the next potential stop may be the 1759 hurdle, which is defined as a support by the lows of July 1 and 2. nbsp nbspjfdbank.com One-stop multi-asset experience for trading and investment services. nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Pound sterling price news and forecast. GBP USD selling opportunity. http ntvforex.com news ID F741464 4 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. GBP USD analysis revealed ascending channel yesterday. The GBP USD exchange rate revealed a medium-term ascending channel. During Wednesday morning, the rate reversed north from the lower channel line. From a theoretical point of view, it is likely that some upside potential could prevail in the market in the nearest future. In the meantime, note that the currency pair would have to exceed the resistance area formed by the 55-100A and 200-hour SMAs, as well the weekly PP in the 1.3070-1.3090 area. Read more. NBSP GBP USD forecast selling opportunity. UK past could have been worse. Future looks bleak when a crash of a fifth in output is considered better than expected. There is reason to worry. The UK economy shrank by 20.4% in the second quarter of 2020, better than 20.5% projected. Year over year, output fell by 21.7%, also above estimates. Perhaps the truly encouraging figure is June's monthly rebound of 8.7%, not only topping forecasts but showing that Britain's gradual reopening also bears economic fruits. That recovery, accompanied by hopes that the uptrend continues in July and beyond, pushed the pound higher. Read more. NBSP GBP USD reverses early dip, flatlined around mid 1.3000s. The GBP USD pair edged higher during the early European session and refreshed daily tops, around the 1.3067 region in the last hour, albeit lacked any strong follow-through. Following the previous day's intraday pullback of around 90 pips and a subsequent dip to weekly lows, the pair managed to attract some dip buying and was being supported by a combination of factors. The British pound found some support following the release of better-than-expected UK GDP report, which showed that the economy expanded by 8.7% in June as against consensus estimates pointing to a growth of 8%. Read more. GBP USD overview today. Last price 1.3047 today. Daily change 0.0001 today. Daily change percent 0.01 today. Daily open 1.3048 nbsp trends. Daily SMA 201.2897 daily SMA 501.2678 daily SMA 1001.2517 daily SMA 2001.2711 nbsp levels. Previous daily high 1.3132 previous daily low 1.3042 previous weekly high 1.3186 previous weekly low 1.2982 previous monthly high 1.317 previous monthly low 1.236 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1.3076 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1.3098 daily pivot point S1 1.3016 daily pivot point S2 1.2984 daily pivot point S3 1.2925 daily pivot point R1 1.3106 daily pivot point R2 1.3164 daily pivot point R3 1.3197 nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. IBIO Stock Price. IBIO Pharma Inc. to attract Robinhood bargain seekers amid doubtful Russia's vaccine at ntvforex.com. News ID FFB0CC 4 minutes ago by Yohai Elam Nice. American IBIO is on course to kick off Wednesday's trade with an increase of 3%. IBIO Inc.'s shares were cut by a quarter on Tuesday after disappointing earnings. Plant-based coronavirus vaccines may return to vogue amid skepticism about Russia's vaccine announcement. From being too expensive to becoming NBSP too cheap, that could be the thinking behind the pre-market price rise that NBSP NYSE American IBIO is experiencing on Wednesday. IBIO Inc.'s share price collapsed by 25.2% on Tuesday after the Bryan, Texas-based pharma firm published disappointing earnings figures. NBSP Chris Markich at Investor Place called readers to stay away from IBIO until it has more than a story. NBSP. Apart from earnings, investors are watching other companies move forward with vaccine candidates and are casting doubt that IBIO can stay in the race, despite its promising fast farming technology. Using plants sounds promising, but academia and pharma firms are sticking to traditional labs for now. That crash by a quarter came on the same day that Russia announced it registered the world's first COVID-19 vaccine. President Vladimir Putin came out with the Sputnik immunization and stunned watchers. However, it quickly became apparent that the successor of the Soviet Union did not repeat its 1950s Sputnik achievement. NBSP tests were rushed with scientists and the president's daughter being inoculated rather than a proper 30,000-strong Phase 3 tests. U.S. President Donald Trump reacted by pledging funds to Moderna, a Massachusetts-based company that is engaged in such a Phase 3 trial. NBSP. The race remains on and there may be more than one winner. IBIO's rapid manufacturing technology could prove useful in distributing the vaccine quickly. And that may be attracting bargain seekers, especially Robinhood users. NBSP rapid production may beat rapid development of a coronavirus vaccine. IBIO stock forecast Wednesday's after-hours pricing is pointing to an increase from Tuesday close of $2.76. While NBSP NYSE American IBIO crashed some 25% and more than 50% from the 52-week high of $7.45 it is well above the levels seen early in the year. NBSP downside levels to watch include $2.15, $1.70, and $1. Looking up, $3.70, $4.30, and $5.60 are of interest. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. NZD/USD. The deeper correction is not over yet. A credit suicide. ntvforex.com news ID 9C38426 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. NZD/USD weakness managed to extend further as the Kiwi broke below the early August low and uptrend form March at 0.659775, keeping the prospect of a deeper setback alive. Support is seen at the 55-day average at 0.6523. Then more importantly at 0.6503, which ideally holds, per Credit Suisse. More a nbsp RBNZ clearly dovish, NZD to come under pressure. AN's key quotes. A NZD/USD weakness extended overnight, breaking below the early August low and uptrend form March, currently at 0.659775. Thus completing a small top and finally managing to follow through on the recent bearish A outside dia and the bear A wedge that is still in place. The market subsequently came to a temporary pause just shy of the 55-day average at 0.6523, ahead of the back of the broken 2014 downtrend at 0.6503. Although further downside is likely in the short term, we ideally look for this area to hold and shift into a lengthier consolidation phase. A resistance is then initially seen at 0.6575, above which would ease the recent downside pressure for a move back to 0.659697. The back of the broken March uptrend. Above here though would see a shift back higher within in the range. A nbsp beneath 0.6503 could see weakness extend even further with next support seen at 0.6466, ahead of 0.645041. ETA worth highlighting. The A wedge measured objective EA is at 0.6400 A nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD price analysis immediately to the upside comes in 1.1916. http ntvforex.com news ID 78DDA74 minutes ago by Pablo Piavano. EUR/USD picks up pace after once again testing the 1.17 region. Further north emerges the 2020 peak near January 1920 August 6. EUR/USD has once again met contention in the 1.17 region, allowing bulls to return to the market and push the pair to the 1.1780 zone on Wednesday. Against this, a sustainable breakout of the 1.18 yardstick carries the potential to extend the bullish impetus further and attempt another visit to the so far 2020 highs near January 1920. Looking at the broader picture, while above the critical 200-day SMA, today at 1.1113, the positive stance in EUR/USD should remain unaltered. EUR/USD daily chart. EUR/USD overview. Today last price 1.1775. Today daily change 68. Today daily change percent 0.30. Today daily open 1.174. nbsp trends. Daily SMA 20 1.1674. Daily SMA 50 1.1437. Daily SMA 100 1.1175. Daily SMA 200 1.1112. nbsp levels. Previous daily high 1.1808. Previous daily low 1.1722. Previous weekly high January 1916. Previous weekly low 1.1696. Previous monthly high January 1909. Previous monthly low 1.1185. Daily Fibonacci 38.2%. 1.1775. Daily Fibonacci 61.8%. 1.1755. Daily pivot point S1 1.1706. Daily pivot point S2 1.1671. Daily pivot point S3 1.162. Daily pivot point R1 1.1791. Daily pivot point R2 1.1842. Daily pivot point R3 1.1877. nbsp Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Ichimoku Cloud Analysis USD JPY, XAU USD, USD Rub Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID DD4AC 3812 11 21:54 AM USD JPY, a US dollar vs Japanese yen. A USD JPY is trading at 106.74. The instrument is moving above Ichimoku Cloud, thus indicating an ascending tendency. The markets could indicate that the price may test Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen at 106.35 and then resume moving upwards to reach 107.35. Another signal in favor of further uptrend will be a rebound from the rising channel S downside border. However, the bullish scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks the cloud S downside border and fixes below 105.65. In this case, the pair may continue falling towards 104.75. nbsp XAU USD, a gold vs US dollar. XAU USD is trading at 1896.00. The instrument is moving below Ichimoku Cloud, thus indicating a descending tendency. The markets could indicate that the price may test Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen at 1915.00 and then resume moving downwards to reach 1785.00. Another signal in favor of further downtrend will be a rebound from the descending channel S upside border. However, the bearish scenario may no longer be valid if the price breaks the cloud S upside border and fixes above 1985.00. In this case, the pair may continue growing towards 2075.00. nbsp USD Rub, a US dollar vs Russian ruble. USD Rub is trading at 72.95. The instrument is moving below Ichimoku Cloud, thus indicating a descending tendency. The markets could indicate that the price may test the cloud S downside border at 73.25 and then resume moving downwards to reach 70.80. Another signal in favor of further downtrend will be a rebound from the upside border of the triangle pattern. However, the bearish scenario may be cancelled if the price breaks the cloud S upside border and fixes above 74.05. In this case, the pair may continue growing towards 75.25. To confirm further decline, the asset must break the pattern S downside border and fix below 72.35. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR GBP waiting for the bullish correction on the EUR GBP to be exhausted. Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID F65CC 8812 11 12:14 AM. The remarkable, bullish run of the euro is temporarily suspended, with a possibility for a complete trend reversal. The EUR GBP pair has been falling since the 28th of July, and the price action is currently concentrated below a major Fibonacci retracement level, which begs the question if a bigger drop-down is possible to develop at the present rate. There are no significant economic releases in the Eurozone scheduled for this week, which is why the euro remains somewhat subdued. Meanwhile, more volatility can be anticipated to affect the value of the pound. Earlier today, the Office for National Statistics in the UK published its findings regarding the quarterly GDP growth rate. The data revealed that the British economy has contracted by the massive 20.4% in the 3 months leading to June, which is the biggest slump on record. Despite these detrimental figures, the pound did not register a significant drop-down following the publication, which means that the market has already started to price in the impact of the economic fallout well in advance. The EUR GBP is currently developing a minor bullish correction, but as it is about to be seen, the prevailing market sentiment looks tilted to the downside. This scenario is favorable for the implementation of swing trading strategies, as traders can wait for the establishment of a new swing high before placing short orders on the expectation for a continued falling of the price action. NBSP long-term outlook. The daily chart below demonstrates the rapidly rising selling pressure in the market. As can be seen, the price action has established two consecutively lower peaks, which is evocative of a trend reversal illustrated by the descending trend line. The price action is currently concentrated around the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement level at 0.90340, which is adopting a new role as resistance. Due to this fact, a lot of fluctuations can be anticipated to occur while the price action remains concentrated within the consolidation area in blue. While there, the price action could jump up and down near the aforementioned resistance. Such seemingly erratic fluctuations could serve as a transitionary stage before the market resumes trending. Similar behavior was already observed before the creation of the latest bullish trend, as demonstrated by the consolidation area in green. The price action could, therefore, continue fluctuating around the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement level over the next following days. However, if it manages to break down below the consolidation range, then the next target for a newly emerging downtrend would be encapsulated by the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement level at 0.87498. The ADX indicator has been threading below the 25-point benchmark since the 30th of July. While this entails the existence of range trading conditions on the market, this outlook has not been prevailing for a long time. This means that the price action is not concentrated within a solid range, which allows for the establishment of a new trend in the near future. Meanwhile, the stochastic RSI indicator is threading close to its oversold extreme, which is a manifestation of robust selling pressure at present. Nevertheless, under the aforementioned range trading conditions, this could prompt heightened buying pressure in the immediate future. This could explain the existence of the recent bullish correction, and could probably drive the price action towards the 38.2% Fibonacci before the EUR GBP can resume falling. NBSP short-term outlook. As can be seen on the 4H chart below, the recent price action has been falling within the boundaries of a downward sloping channel. The Keltner channels indicator is used to illustrate the progression of the drop down, which was commenced the last time the price action reached and subsequently rebounded from the channel's upper limit. The latter serves as a floating resistance, and after the rebound itself, the price action established an impulse leg, which was concluded after the price action reached the channel's lower limit at point 1. This impulse leg can be perceived as the initial stage in the development of a broader 1-5 impulse wave pattern, as postulated by the Elliott wave theory. The subsequent correction represents the following 1-2 retracement leg, which attempted to but failed to drive the price action above the 38.2% Fibonacci for a long time. Finally, after the minor bullish correction is finalized, and a new swing high is established, the price action would be ready to resume heading south, and thereby develop the next impulse leg 2-3. The creation of such a swing high A, the peak of the current bullish correction A, can be affirmed once the stochastic RSI indicator reaches the overbought extreme, and the underlying bullish pressure starts to diminish. As can be seen on the hourly chart below, the 30-day MA in orange is about to cross above the 50-day MA in blue, which underlines the rising bullish bias in the short term. The correction could rise to the descending trend line, which converges towards the consolidation area in green's upper edge before it changes directions. Alternatively, if the bullish commitment continues to rise, the price action could test the resistance at 0.90340 before it rebounds and heads south. NBSP concluding remarks: the bears should not rush to place short orders right away. Even though the longer-term outlook is mostly bearish, the short-term bullish pressure looks strong enough to continue driving the price action higher. They should instead wait for definitive signs that the minor correction is concluded and that the price action is ready to resume falling. For the time being, the EUR-GBP pair remains concentrated in a tight range around the 38.2% Fibonacci retracement, which means that there is a high probability for erratic fluctuations around the two boundaries. Trending conditions can resume only after the price action manages to break out above or below the range's limits. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. China rebound in inflation seen as temporary. http://ntvforex.com news IDECCF 566 minutes ago by Pablo Piovano. UOB Group AS economist Ho Woi Chen, CFA, gives her opinion on the latest set of inflation figures in the Chinese economy. Key quotes: China's Consumer Price Index CPI rose 2.7% YY in July. This was led by higher food price inflation, while core inflation excluding food and energy slipped further to 0.5% YY from 0.9% in June, indicating that demand remains weak. A producer price index PPI deflation eased to 2.4% YY in July from 3.0% YY in June. PPI has been in the negative in 12 out of 13 months to July. Year to date, China's CPI was up 3.7% YY. The pickup in July headline CPI is unlikely to be sustained in coming months due to still weak demand conditions and the high base of comparison in 2019, while high pork prices and weather-induced increase in food prices are expected to ease. We now expect full-year CPI inflation at 3.1% compared to our earlier forecast of 3.5%. Weak price pressures will maintain room for accommodative monetary policy, but further easing will be limited given recovery in the macroeconomic data. nbsp. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Pound sterling price news and forecast. GBP USD. The deck is stacked against K-Blate. ntvforex.com news ID 53DA666 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. GBP USD resistance awaits at 1.3070 after containing a move below the uptrend support. The GBP USD pair is flatlined around mid 1.3000s as Wednesday's 4-hour chart is painting a mixed picture. Yohai Elam, an analyst at NTV Forex, sees first resistance at 1.3070 while notes that the cable held above uptrend support. Key quotes: GBP USD continues suffering from downside momentum on the 4-hour chart, and trades below the 50 simple moving average. On the other hand, it survived a dip below uptrend support, showing some strength. Read more. nbsp. GBP USD. The deck is stacked against cable. UK past could have been worse, but the bleak labour market prospects and dollar's haven flows point to falls, according to NTV Forex's analyst Yohai Elam. GBP USD is flat, trading just below the 1.3050 level. Key quotes: the UK economy shrank by 20.4% in the second quarter of 2020, better than 20.5% projected. Yohai, output fell by 21.7%, also above estimates. Perhaps the truly encouraging figure is June's monthly rebound of 8.7%, not only topping forecasts but showing that Britain's gradual reopening also bears economic fruits. That recovery, accompanied by hopes that the uptrend continues in July and beyond, pushed the pound higher. Read more. nbsp. GBP USD reverses early dip, flatlined around mid 1.3000s. The GBP USD pair edged higher during the early European session and refreshed daily tops, around the 1.3067 region in the last hour, albeit lacked any strong follow-through. Following the previous day's intraday pullback of around 90 pips and a subsequent dip to weekly lows, the pair managed to attract some dip buying and was being supported by a combination of factors. The British pound found some support following the release of better-than-expected UK GDP report, which showed that the economy expanded by 8.7% in June as against consensus estimates pointing to a growth of 8%. Read more. GBP USD overview today last price 1.3047 today daily change 0.0001 today daily change percent 0.01 today daily open 1.3048 nbsp trends daily SMA 201.2897 daily SMA 501.2678 daily SMA 1001.2517 daily SMA 2001.2711 nbsp levels previous daily high 1.3132 previous daily low 1.3042 previous weekly high 1.3186 previous weekly low 1.2982 previous monthly high 1.317 previous monthly low 1.236 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1.3076 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1.3098 daily pivot point S1 1.3016 daily pivot point S2 1.2984 daily pivot point S3 1.2925 daily pivot point R1 1.3106 daily pivot point R2 1.3164 daily pivot point R3 1.3197 nbsp Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY rising wedge indicating end of bullish wave 3 of C analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 8E79 of 8/12/2020 11:27:16 AM. The USD JPY is building a strong bullish rebound. The third swing is probably a wave C purple of a larger ABC zigzag pattern. This remains valid unless price breaks above the main 61.8% Fibonacci target blue box NBSP price charts and technical analysis. The higher high on the USD JPY is aiming first at the 27.2% Fibonacci target. This zone could create a pullback and continuation towards the 61.8% Fib target. This currency pair remains in an uptrend on the 4-hour chart as long as price remains above the 21 EMA zone. On the 1-hour chart, the USD JPY is showing strong bullish momentum within that wave C. This is clearly visible due to the ability of price action to move away from the 21 EMA zone blue candles. Price might be running out of steam though at the moment, as a rising wedge chart pattern purple lines is being built. Any pullback could confirm a wave 4 orange pattern. Price is expected to bounce around the 21 EMA zone. NBSP The analysis has been done with the ECS.SWOT method and ebook. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors.